Hi BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie and I'm going to do the comfort reading book tag. I will have to find who created this tag and post the link in the description box below, but you guys know the drill, a series of questions that are bookish answers. Okay, so I did have trouble with this tag. I did manage to sort of come up with the answers. Maybe one day I'll redo this tag and come up with better answers than this, but here it goes. Okay, question number 1. The Kettle's On, a book of steadfast comfort, always there for you, makes any day better, like a cup of tea or your favorite warm drink. For me, it would be coffee. I know people don't like to talk about this because of its author, but I still have a soft spot for Harry Potter. I feel like it's still a very comforting book, it reminds me of my preteen days because that's when I started reading. I was around the same age as Harry was in the books, maybe a little bit older than him. And I think, like a lot of 90s kids, I grew up with the Harry Potter series and anticipated when the next book would come out. I've been to at least one midnight release of the book. I think it was the 4th book because I remember being in the car reading the book with my dad. Not reading with him, but being in the car with him reading the book. And it was around the time that Borders still existed, and it makes me think of Borders a little bit. Borders bookstore. I don't know if any of you guys remember it. It's basically like a Books A Million except for a different theming and stuff like that. A bit of a different look to it. And it gives me warm fuzzy feelings, It's a series that I will never hate, despite its author. I think, I understand it gives some people mixed feelings because of its author. I get it. But for me personally, I can't hate the series. There are probably things in it, like, that are, kind of show could potentially tease J.K. Rowling's true colors. I probably shouldn't have said her name, but I will never move on from Harry Potter. Okay, question number 2, grandmother's quilt, which I don't have any quilt for my grandmother. My grandmother was not a quilter, although she does have she used to cross stitch though. A book that reminds you of loved ones, on a comforting book, loved one, or a comforting book that was given to you to read aloud to you by someone dear. Which this was kind of an interesting. This was an interesting answer because I was exposed to the story before I ever read the book, and that is Wizard of Oz by Frank L. Baum. I was more into the movie for the longest time, and my dad was in the musical. I associate that book with my dad, because he was in the play. He was the wizard in the community theater production of Wizard of Oz. So in a way, he introduced me to Wizard of Oz. There's a few other stories that he introduced me to as well, and I will forever, even when he has left this world behind, and God has decided to take him home, then to me, I will forever associate Wizard of Oz with him, because he, and yes, I read the book first time for a few years ago, but sorry, my dog's right here. And there's other that I also associate with him as well. But now I have to continue reading that series. Like, I need to read Marvelous Land of Oz. I'm trying to read, although I think I could potentially get away with not reading it in order, but I want to. So okay, so next, question number 3 is Warm Spices, a book with particularly vivid prose or imagery, a story comforting in its richness, depth, and vibrance. And I picked The Night Circus, which I think was Olive's pick as well. She was the one whose video I watched her do this tag. And I think that was her answer as well. But the Night Circus, and the Night Circus, it just has such beautiful imagery. I know people have issue with that. Not everybody loves that. It's a bit of a polarizing read for some people, especially the romance and stuff. But the atmosphere that Erin Morgenstern creates, the slow building of the idea of this circus coming only at night, and the smell of all this, the popcorn and the I always forget what it's the I can't remember what it's called, the con candy. Sorry, my dog's doing something right now. I just hope he doesn't puke on my floor. Like the con candy, the smell of funnel cake and popcorn, and the in the case of Charles County, the stuffed ham, and just the atmosphere, all the only the black and white with only the little bit of color, and just the imagery she created with the story, and the atmosphere she just built over time, and the fact that it only comes at night adds some mystery to this Night Circus. And it just was like a fairy tale. And I think she did that once again in her other book, The Starless Sea, as well. I think that also had this magical atmosphere to it. I mean, there are aspects about that. Like, I know that some people are like, oh, it doesn't have a plot and all that. But, and maybe you're right, maybe it doesn't. But I personally loved it. I just didn't want to give it as my answer. Okay, so question number 4, Candlelight, a book that keeps you going or encourages you when you feel things get dark. This was more of I just came up with an answer. I don't know if it's really a good answer. But I said the Wayward Children series because I feel like it gives you hope. It's a series that gives you hope and belief in magic, and then one day you're going to find your place in the world and, find where you fit in, especially if you're someone that's considered different by society. It's comforting, and the idea of other worlds is just magical worlds that are your perfect world. If you feel like you don't fit in this world, it's like, yeah, it's fantasy, but it gives me feelings of hope. Okay, so question number 5. Laugh Medicine, a book that makes you laugh out loud, grin wildly, coming to the rescue in the gloomiest days. And I said Emma by Jane Austen. I think you could say that about a lot of her books. Almost all of her books. They have their own, colorful humor that, granted not everybody would get it because it's humor about a different time, a different time period, different society. But her books are so charming and entertaining, and you just smile and shake your head at Emma in her ridiculousness. And she means well. She's always trying to help people, but it always goes wrong. And, just her determination to believe that she's always right and that she's so wise. It's just, you just can't help but love Emma, It's just such a charming read, and just like seeing the antics the characters get into, it just makes me smile. Okay, question number 6. In bed all day, you've got your warm drink, a cozy blanket, maybe your grandmother's quilt. What do you read when you're curled up all day? Or for a couple hours anyway. And like Olive, I don't really have an answer for this one because I read whatever I have, whatever I'm in the middle of. There's no specific book that I would read when I'm curled up in bed all day. I read whatever I can get access to. I just, whatever I'm currently reading, I would probably be reading. I don't have a specific book for that. Okay. Question number 7. Endless Comfort, a book that brings you solace no matter how many times you reread it. And I said Jane Eyre. That's actually the book I've reread the most. And it's such a great story. I know there's, things about the romance. Rochester's not the best guy in the world, but, Jane's confident, her slow growth of confidence and becoming, strong, her journey, her self-assurance, and the love that she feels for Rochester, even if he probably doesn't deserve it. And just her strength, her inner strength. And I feel like that can also apply to, that could also probably apply to the question number 4. But I didn't want to use that one again, so. Because I had already answered question number 7 already. Okay, so question number 8, Portable Hope, a book that restores your faith in humanity, faith in life, faith in yourself, a book that says it's going to be okay. The world is full of good things, and tomorrow will be better. And I said, Once Upon a River, which, if you don't know, it's a book about this man that's just barely alive and a girl that appears to be dead, washed along the Thames and end up in this small little village. And somehow the girl appears dead, but she comes back alive. And all these people just fall in love with this little girl, and at least 3 families claim her as a child that they lost. And it's about these families and their lives, and it made me feel all warm and fuzzy and feel like, it's so sweet that all these people want to claim this little girl, and they see her as their own child. And it was just a really heartbreaking and beautiful story. About human compassion, human understanding, humans' ability to love. Okay, question number 9. A basket for your neighbor. Just as it's lovely to be comforted by books, it can be lovely to pass the comfort along. Imagine you are putting together a cozy comfort basket for your neighbor or friend or loved one. Take your pick. Which books would you include? And I like my answer is similar to Olive's, where I feel like it's kind of hard to do that, for just a random person. I feel like you gotta know their reading taste. And, I guess the same thing with, what Steve Donahue was saying. When he worked at bookstores, he would ask people, what are they interested in? What do they like to read, or what do they like to watch on TV if they're not a reader yet? What's their interest in movies and stuff like that? I feel like you can't just randomly give a person books. You have to know. That's why I don't like those questions where, what's a book you recommend to everybody? I mean, that's one of the questions I struggle with. That's why I have trouble doing the book giving tag created by Elliot Brooks, because there's a question like that on there. There's a few other questions I kind of would struggle with as well. And I would rather give good, legitimate answers if I'm going to do a tag. This one I feel a little bit more confident in my answers. But, so I'm thinking that it would be something that I would give my best friend Larissa, because I think she's a little more open to trying different things, different types of books. So I would probably put, I think, Evelyn Hugo, I would put in there. I don't remember the author's name of that. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I maybe put an Austen in there. And a Kate Mornant in there as well. Which actually, that actually applies to the last question. But probably one of Dickens's books, like A Christmas Carol, I would put in there as well. So yeah, I definitely put more than one book. And probably like a fluffy romance as well. I would need to put something, just like books that are fun and just warm-hearted and have happy endings, and also a book that's just fun even if it's not fluffy and happy ending like. It's still a fun read. My dog is right here. He's so soft. Okay, and then the last question, number 10. A walk in the woods. Though we'd like to stay curled up indoors with our books forever, or at least I would, we've got to venture into the world again sometime. A walk in the woods always helps me to feel refreshed, unless I happen upon a spider or something, But let's not think about that. Tell us about a book with beautiful nature writing, or a book that restores your peace. So I don't read nature books. I mean, I have read books that have somebody writing about the nature around them, but I can't think of a good example. So I'm thinking more along the lines of a book that will give me peace. And originally I was going to say Kate Morton's books, but like The Forgotten Garden or something. That also could potentially apply to the nature, because I'm sure there's talks about there's a Forgotten Garden. That's what people, I think, get it mixed up with The Secret Garden. They think it's plagiarizing for some reason, and they probably haven't even read the book in the first place. I mean, the garden is a secondary plot point in The Forgotten Garden. But I also was like, I'm going to say something different. I'm going to try to see if I can come up with a different answer. And I feel like a Christmas Carol. I mean, a lot of Christmas messages, I think, are very wholesome and can give you peace. In this one, like, it's all about the idea of this man getting a second chance to redeem himself. Like, he makes bad choices and becomes selfish and greedy, but then a higher power gives him a second chance and is like, you can redeem yourself. You can become a better person and not end up like your friend who was being punished by, reminding yourself, what is the true meaning of Christmas. I think that can give you peace and give you hope and believe that you can get a second chance if you really deserve it. If you really try hard enough to redeem yourself, if you were a bad person. Because there is still a chance. It's not going to be easy. It's hard. And it's not going to be as simple as, Ebenezer Scrooge giving away his money, and all of a sudden I'm light as a feather, and I'm happy, and now I'm gonna give you guys gifts and get you to persuade you to forgive me for my cruelty. It's not gonna happen overnight. But A Christmas Carol gives you belief that it can happen. It just takes a lot of hard work. And, you can whine about it and decide to take the easy way, but there's no way to avoid it. You are going to have to work hard to earn back the goodness. Earn back the ability to become a better person. It's not just like putting one foot in front of the other. It's like, it is like that, but you do it slowly. Walking, one step at a time. Unfortunately, movies kind of shorten the process a little bit, but in reality, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't happen in an instant. You need time. Your heart's not going to instantly go 3 sizes too big. It's not going to, you're not going to just be able to magically give someone a gift and be like, I'm sorry, and welcome me, and people are going to easily forgive you. Well, forgiveness shows that you're a good person. And there's hope for you, but it's, movies shorten it, speed up the process a little bit because it's still a movie, but, in reality, it takes a lot longer. But either way, Christmas stories in general, mostly Christmas movies, because I don't normally read Christmas stories, but A Christmas Carol it's such a warm and inviting story. Like I said, it gives you hope. It gives you encouragement that you can change and become a better person, and there is hope for you. And it spreads this beautiful message about the true meaning of Christmas, and the importance of spending time with your loved ones, and celebrating Christmas, and the warmth of Christmas, and the idea of, being there for everybody, and being kind to everybody, and giving to others, giving to everybody, and appreciating Christmas and appreciating your life. And I think most Christmas stories, whether it's a book or a movie, definitely spreads that message of love and hope and faith. So yeah, I feel like A Christmas Carol does get me peace, and I do plan to read it this year along with the other story chimes. Okay, so that is the comfort book tag. Feel free to do this tag. It's a nice little warm, wholesome tag. And if you like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up, click subscribe if you haven't, and click the bell notification if you want to be notified when I post new videos. And as always, I hope you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!